Good morning and welcome to the thorough newspaper analysis for the 1st of April 2022. For the first article, we have AFSPA and the Northeast, which has been taken from the Indian Express editorial and has been authored by Esha Roy. Following that, we will have the news update and the legal news, which you know are a part of LawSikho's initiative to keep its readers and students updated with the current affairs happening in and around of India. So in the first article, AFSPA and the Northeast, we have the center on Thursday greatly reduced the footprint of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act 1958 in the Northeast. It was withdrawn from 23 districts in Assam. So what happened is that the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which is also known as AFSPA, this has often been known to be an act which gives sweeping powers to the armed forces, and due to this, there have been frequent extrajudicial killings in the Northeast states. And for a long time now, these Northeast states had been advocating the repeal of this specific act. And they had also filed cases to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court had set up committees, and they had also found that the effect that AFSPA has had on these Northeast states were traumatizing. They were extremely unconstitutional, and there has been cases in which the encounters, the so-called encounters, have been fake encounters. So, in a writ petition filed in 2012 before the Supreme Court, it was alleged that 1,528 fake encounters were carried out by the armed forces which had been empowered under AFSPA. The Supreme Court decided to investigate six of them and concluded that all of those six were fake encounters, a result of the sweeping powers granted to the armed forces by AFSPA. Living under the AFSPA regime for 60 years has traumatized the Naga people, cementing the Naga nationalism. And the decision to withdraw AFSPA comes when Naga and Manipuri insurgencies have steadily been declining since 2012. Further, the killing of the 14 villagers in Oteng Mon cemented the demand for repealing AFSPA. So, AFSPA was active in Manipur and Nagaland since 1958, ever since the nationalist movements started sprouting. So, when the nationalist movement started sprouting, the Northeast police tried to quell them by force. But soon they realized that this was not under their control, and the insurgents had far better training and they were far more effective. So the parliament went on and enacted AFSPA, which gave the armed forces power to act in these northeastern states and bring down the insurgents. And ever since this AFSPA was enacted, Manipur and Nagaland have been under the regime of AFSPA. After 60 years of witnessing incessant killing in front of their eyes, Naga people and the Manipuri people, they have become traumatized. And the reason why AFSPA was created was to combat Naga nationalism. But instead, the brutality, which is often it is often complained that the armed forces have been very brutal on these people. This said brutality has further cemented Naga nationalism instead of removing it. But however, things changed since 2010, and in 2012, majority of the Naga and Manipuri insurgents, they surrendered their arms and they decided to rectify their ways. So in a way, the reason why AFSPA was created was slowly diminishing. But we recently saw that 14 villagers in Oteng Mon were suspected to be insurgents and they were killed. And later it was found out, or it was suspected that these people were innocent people. And this was a fake encounter. AFSPA was active in Manipur and Nagaland since 1958, as we said. And when this happened, the people finally lost their patience and they started agitating so that the AFSPA would be repealed. Now, the act states that before shooting a suspect, fair warning has to be given to them. Further, the armed forces are to act in cooperation with the district administration and they cannot act as an independent body. In 2005, Justice Jeevan Reddy Committee also called the ruling of the AFSPA as highly undesirable and said it had created an atmosphere of oppression after Sharmila went on a hunger strike that lasted 16 years. So what happened is that Sharmila was a social activist and she went into a hunger strike since 2000. And this continued for 16 years. So moved by the protests against AFSPA, the essay took cognizance of the matter, and in 2005, a committee was set, which was headed by retired Justice Jeevan Reddy, who has served in the Supreme Court. So this committee found out that the ruling of the AFSPA was highly undesirable and it had created an atmosphere of oppression. Later, several other committees had also concurred with the Justice Jeevan Reddy committee. Now, what happens is that center alone can repeal or affect AFSPA. But in practice, it is never so. It is the state government, when they understand that there have been cases of insurgencies and they cannot quell it by their own force, that is when they write a letter to the center asking for AFSPA to be effected into their states, so that the armed forces be brought in and they can help with the insurgencies. And when we are talking of repealing the AFSPA, this procedure is again followed when the states go forward and ask the center through a letter that the AFSPA should be repealed as the insurgencies have gone down. But before the killing of the 14 villagers in Otingmon, this was not the case. Nagaland, Manipur, and Meghalaya had not officially asked the central government to repeal AFSPA, although the people have been agitating for quite a while now. But after this incident of the 14 villagers dying at the hands of the armed forces, the chief ministers of Nagaland, Manipur, and Meghalaya jointly asked for the repeal of AFSPA. And today, the center has accepted their appeal and has repealed AFSPA. For the news updates, we have for the first article dips in Chilka Lake's dolphin population. The population of dolphins in Orissa has increased from 544 in 2021 to 726 this year, revealed the annual dolphin census carried out recently. The report released on March 30th stated that the Gahiramata is home to the state's largest population of dolphins, even more than Chilka. As per the 2022 dolphin census, Gahiramata Marine Sanctuary and the nearby areas in Bhitarkanika saw dolphin count skyrocket to 540 from 342 last year. These included 45 Irrawaddy, 135 bottlenose dolphins, 332 humpback dolphins, 13 striped, and 15 spinner dolphins. For the second article, we have Ashutosh to be the first Seshan Chair professor. Professor Dr. Ashutosh Kumar has been appointed as the first visiting professor at the TN Seshan Chair at Indian International Institute of Democracy and Election Management, or IIDEM as it is known, in New Delhi, to commemorate and celebrate the achievements and contributions of the former Chief Election Commissioner of India, TN Seshan. Election Commission of India has appointed the establishment and funding of a chair on interdisciplinary approach to electoral studies and the Center for Curriculum Development. For the third article, we have SC goes faster on delivery of orders. CGI NV Ramana launched a digital platform on Thursday named Fast and Secure Transmission of Electronic Records, which, when abbreviated, is called FASTER. This will transmit court orders through swift and secure electronic mode. CGI Ramana said that the FASTER was brought into existence after a news report published in July last year regarding a delay in the release of prisoners. For the fourth article, we have second Khelo India University Games. The Khelo India University Games is to be hosted in Karnataka and will be held between April 24th and May 3rd. Youth and Sports Affairs Minister K.C. Narayana Gowda said on Wednesday. The state government has started all the preparations, and the logo, theme song, and jersey for the events will be released on the 1st of April, he said. For the fifth article, we have the 20th edition of Bilateral Naval Exercise between India and French Navies, the VARUNA. The 20th edition of the Bilateral Naval Exercise between India and French Navies, also dubbed as VARUNA, is being conducted in the Arabian Sea from 30th March to 3rd April 2022. And this exercise is between the two navies and it was initiated back in 1993. The exercise was christened as Varuna in 2001 and has become a vital part of India-France strategic bilateral relationship. Various units, including ships, submarines, maritime patrol aircraft, fighter aircraft, and helicopters of the two navies, are participating in the exercise. These units will endeavor to enhance and hone the operational skills in maritime theater, augment interoperability to undertake maritime security operations, and demonstrate their commitment to promote peace, security, and stability in the region as an integrated force. For the legal news, we have the 105th Constitutional Amendment is prospective in nature, states the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court stated that the Tamil Nadu's reservation of the one-year community for 10.5% as the most backward classes is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court also held that the 105th Constitutional Amendment in question here is prospective in nature, rejecting the contention that the amendment was retrospective and had to be commenced from the day the 102nd Amendment came into force, and this has been founded in the case Pattali Makkal Kachi versus A. Maileram Perumal. For the second article today we have is on death penalty, where the Supreme Court is now considering laying down guidelines for assessment of mitigating circumstances. The SC in a suo motu case has decided to lay down the norms and guidelines pertaining to the process of collecting and scrutinizing mitigation information in death penalty. And this has been founded in the case Bhayu Mevati versus the state of Madhya Pradesh. So this was all for today. For free study materials and TNA PDF slides, please join our Telegram channel by scanning the Telegram QR code given here. You can also follow us on our Instagram channels, LawSikho.Judiciary, LawSikho Clat Prep, UGC Net _ LawSikho, and LawSikho Law Finance. For any further information, please feel free to visit www.lawsikho.com. Thank you.